Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to be using React and we're going to create a custom right click menu, a context menu. So just to give you a look at what we'll be making today, if I do a right click on this screen here, we'll get a custom context menu. Okay, so let's get started with today's tutorial. So I've just created a boilerplate project. Just going to start up this now. So yarn start. Okay, so we'll bring the two onto one screen here now. Okay. So just going to get rid of everything inside in our app.js. Get rid of the logo. Get rid of app test. And save all. Okay, so first of all, in our source folder then, we're going to create two folders. We're going to create a components folder and a hooks folder. And we're going to create a custom hook for the menu so we can use it in any of the components we want to have a custom right click menu. We'll start with the hook first. So in the hooks folder, we're going to create a file called use right click menu.js. And when you're creating your custom hooks, we always start off with use. That's kind of the convention. So I'm going to import use state and use effect first. And then use effect. Now, then we're going to export as a default a function. Now we're going to need to know where we clicked on the screen, so we're going to get the X and the Y axis of that position on the screen we clicked, and we're going to set them in a use state. So we're going to say const, and then we're going to just say X comma set X equals use state. And initially we're just going to put a 0 value in there. And then we're just going to copy this line down. And we're going to set the y-axis. And that's going to be set initially to 0 as well. And we need a piece of state then to know when to show the menu and when to hide the menu. So we're going to save that in use state again, and we're going to give it an initial value of false. Just begin the set show menu. Now, so we're going to be using the use effect in here. Once we first load, we're going to add an event listener to the DOM, and we're going to listen for a click event. So we'll set the use effect. So in here we're going to say document, and then we're going to add an event listener. We're going to be listening for a click event, and we're going to call a function then, and we'll create that function in a few seconds. We're going to call a function handle click. And we're going to be also listening for an event listener on the context menu when you press the right button on the mouse. So same again, document.add event listener, and we're going to be listening for the context menu. And then we're going to create another function in just a moment now, and we're going to be listening for handle context menu. Okay, so then we're going to use the cleanup functionality of the use effect to remove these event listeners, so we're not adding a heap of event listeners. So every time the use effect is run, it's going to clear out the original listeners before it creates the new ones. So to do a cleanup, we use a return. And document dot remove listener. And we're going to remove the click with the handle click, and just copy that down, and document dot remove listener. So we're going to remove the context. Now, so what we're doing here is when the use effect gets initially called, we're adding event listeners on each of the mouse button clicks, one on the left and one on the right. The return statement then does is next time the use effects get called, it's going to clear the original event listeners before it adds them in again. Just make that bigger for a second. Okay, so we have our use effect then, so we're going to create our handle context function first. So use an arrow function, handle context menu, now so this function is going to take in an event when the button is clicked. So on the click, we want to prevent the original right click menu from popping up, so we're going to do an e.prevent default. And what I mean by getting rid of the original one is when we right click anywhere on the screen, we get the standard drop down list. So we're going to do e.prevent default. So we want to get the X and Y axis of the part of the screen we clicked to show the new custom menu. So we say set. We want to set the X axis, so we say set X. And we're going to set X to the e.pageX. And we'll do the same for the y-axis. And then once we have our x and y-axis, we want to show the menu. So we set the show menu to true. Okay, so that's our handle context menu. And then on the handle click, this is going to be to make the show menu disappear if we use our left mouse button click. So const So we're going to say show menu, and what the show menu on its own does is if it's true, and we use the double ampersand then to do the next piece of code. If show menu is true, we're just going to set the menu to false. Set show menu false. Okay, so our custom hook is nearly done. Once we've all that done, then we want to return. Inside curly braces, then we're going to return X, we're going to return Y, and we're going to return the show menu. Okay, so that's our hook pretty much done. So once this gets mounted, we're going to add event listeners to the document. And depending on state, then we're either going to show it or hide it. And then the next time it comes around, it's going to remove the original event listeners before it adds them back in again. So we don't have multiple event listeners for the same functions. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do then, we'll create the menu. So inside our components, we're going to create a new file called menu.js. So our menu is going to be just 3 divs. Inside of a main div. Just add some text. We'll just say button 1, button 2, button 3. Okay, so we want to add some style to this menu as well. So we're going to create a function to style the first button. I'll show you how to use functions for styling as well. So in here, we're just going to create a function. Because this will be dynamic, the X and the Y will be changing the whole time. So we're going to use a function to style this. So we just say const style equals to, so we want to return so we're going to give it a height of 200. Going to give it a width of 150, border radius of 10, and a background color. Background color will be #FF5C58. Set the color FCD2D1. Going to have a display of flex. I'm going to set the flex direction to column. I'm going to give it a padding of 10. Now, and then we want to set the top to the position Y, which will be sending in as a prop now in a few seconds. And the left is going to be X. That's going to be a prop as well. And we're going to give the position of absolute because we want to display it anywhere on the screen. And then to display it on the screen, we're going to use and to show menu prop that's going to be handed in. So we're going to say show menu. If the show menu is true, use a ternary operator. We're going to display it as flex. Otherwise, none. Now, so we save that then. And up in our menu, we're going to destructure props that's going to be handed in. We're going to destructure X. We're going to destructure Y. And show menu. Okay, so to use that style then, in the main wrapping div, we're going to say style is equal to style. Now, so we're going to create some style then for the rest of the buttons inside the menu. So down here, I'm just going to create some style. Const style. For the divs then, we're going to create a style for them on their own. Say flex 1, we want them to take up equal amount of space inside of it. I'm going to say align items. We'll set that to center. Justify the content will be center as well. I'm going to set a background color. We'll set the background color to F8, and we'll set a color FFEDD3. Set a font weight. And we'll set the font weight to bold. And we'll set the cursor as pointer. Okay, so I want to set one more style. I want to add a bit of margin to some things. So I'll set just a margin style. And just going to put the margin to 10 pixels on the top and the bottom, and 0 on the left and right. Why I'm doing this is I want a second button here to have a margin on the top and the bottom, but I don't want a margin on the last button or the first button because there's padding on the main div and I want them to be spaced equal. So we'll give this one style equals style.div, and we'll do the same for the last button. And then for this button here, the second button, we're going to combine the two styles, and to do that we're going to give it, we just use the dot operator. We're going to use all of the styles divs, and then we're going to use 3 more dots again, and we're going to say the style.div, style.margin, sorry. So we're combining the two styles for the second button. We're only going to give a margin top and bottom to the second button because there's padding on the main container. So we'll save that now. Okay, so then we go back to our app.js. Inside our app.js, going to import our hook. So we're going to import the use right click menu. From hooks, use right click menu, and we want to bring in our menu as well. From our components and our menu. Inside our empty fragment, then I'm just going to show the menu, and we want to use our right click menu. So I'm going to say const, I'm going to destructure x and y and show a menu from it. So I'm going to say x comma y comma show menu. That's going to be equal to our custom hook. So let's use right click menu. Now inside in our menu, then we want to pass in the values x, y, and z. So x is going to be equal to x, y is going to be equal to y, and show menu is going to be equal to show menu. Now, so if we save that now, we go back to our app, and now you can see our menu is appearing, but there's an error somewhere. It's not working as it should. Okay, so let's have a look and see where I made a mistake. There's an issue with the styling too. It's not. We'll go back into our use. Oh look, I've duplicated. This should be y. Return y. Save that. Now we go back. Now you can see it's appearing whenever I click and on the right menu, and when I click on the left one it goes away. Let's have a look at the styling. There's an issue with the styling. Okay, into the menu.js. What have I messed up here? Oh, I see there now. I've named it style. I have the function above called style as well, so it's looking for a div inside the function. So we just change the name to styles. Come down here to our dictionary object and call this styles. Now if we press save, if we go back now to our screen, and the middle button we need to do styles as well. Styles, save that now. Okay, so we're missing the margin on the middle button. This is why I only apply the margin to the middle button, because you can see we have padding on the outside. And if I apply the margin to all the buttons, there'll be more margin on the top here and down here than the middle margins. So let's see where I made a typo here. Oh look, in this should be, there shouldn't be a comma there. That comma should be gone. So we save that now. Now, yeah, we can see our menu is as it should. And our text is not in the center. Oh, so we just need to put a display flex here as well. Now our menu is as it should be, but there's one thing you might have noticed. if we click too near the bottom, we can't see the menu, or if we click too far to the right, the menu gets hidden too. So we need to offset the menu if we're clicking at a certain part of the screen. So we'll show you how to do that now. So we go back to our custom hook, and up here where we're setting the X and the Y coordinates, we're going to use a ternary operator to offset if we click too low or too far to the right. So we're just going to say e.page x plus 150, and we're going to say if the e.page x plus 150, if that's greater than the window, the inner width, then we're just going to move it back 180 pixels. So, and why I've used 150 to get the distance is if we go back to our menu, and you see that we have a width of 150. So where we click on the screen and plus the width of it, if that's greater than the inner width of the window, then we're just going to move it back. And same for the height, wherever we click. If we click too far down on the screen and we say plus 200, if that's greater than the inner height of the window, then we're just going to move it up. So we'll go back to our custom hook. So where were we? We say e.page x plus 150. If that's greater than the window dot inner width. So that's true, then we want to use a ternary operator. If that's true, we're going to set X, and we're going to use the backticks, and we're going to use the $sign and 2 curly brackets, and we're going to just set this then, set X to e.page, or we're going to set it to the window inner width, and we're going to bring it back 180 pixels. If it's not greater than the window width, we're just going to set it to the e.page x. So set, and we're going to set it to the e.page x. Okay, so delete that. Just going to copy down this line then. So we're going to say if the y.page, or sorry, if the e.page y plus 200 this time, because we set it of a height of 200, is greater than the window dot inner width, or height, sorry. Then we're going to set y to the window dot inner height and we're going to bring it back up the screen 230 pixels. And if that's not true, then we're just going to set y to the e.page y. Set y e.page y. So we'll save that now. Go back to the application. So it's setting it. Okay, so if we go down too far on the screen, we go down near the bottom and we press the right click button. Now you see we can see the full menu. If we go over to the left, we can see the full menu. Go up to the very top right and go down to the very bottom left. And now it's bringing it up and over on that action. I hope you found this video useful. I hope you've learned some things. We went through ternary operators. We've set our own custom hook so we can bring this menu into any component we want. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell notification if you want to see more videos like this. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next.